What's going on, guys? It's finally that time of year. This Sunday, March 2nd, we have the 97th Annual Academy Awards, aka the Oscars, finally taking place. And I know there are a lot of varying opinions on these awards, really just movie awards in general. You have a lot of people that couldn't care less, think they're really pretentious and snobby, and then you have people who think these awards are the end-all be-all. Me personally, I'll probably put myself somewhere in the middle with a slight lean towards the latter, but I promise I'm not that pretentious. I just get really invested in these kinds of things, being someone that watches movies with a critical eye, but is also very passionate about the art of filmmaking. I like to see people who are also passionate and put a lot of hard work into these films get acknowledged on the kind of the grandest stage of them all in terms of movie award shows. And even though I don't always agree with the Academy selections, I always have a good time this time of year getting really invested in these movies. So what I would like to do for this video today is give you guys 5 predictions I have for this year's ceremony. And if you have any opinions or predictions of your own, make sure to leave them down in the comments below. I'd love to read them. Also, make sure to like the video while you're here and subscribe to the channel for more movie content. Now let's get into these predictions. So starting with prediction number 1, and I figured why not jump all the way in and give what I feel is my boldest prediction of the video, and that is that Emiliaperez will get shut out and leave this award show empty-handed. Now, of my predictions, this is probably the least likely to come true just from a numbers standpoint. I mean, this movie has 13 nominations, which is one shy of the record, by the way. And so for it to get 13 nominations and to not win one seems very unlikely. But this movie is pretty messy. There's a lot of controversy surrounding this movie. You got the lead actress having controversial tweets resurface. You got the director getting criticized for comments. You got the communities that this movie is meant to represent kind of feel like it's a stereotypical representation and not that progressive for those communities. And so there's a lot of mess surrounding this movie. But at the end of the day, aside from all that, I just thought this movie was really, really bad. 13 nominations for this movie is insane. Like, I really feel like I must have seen a different movie than everybody else, because this is one of the worst movies I've seen in the past year. There really just wasn't all that much that was redeeming about it. And so to get as many nominations as it's getting is just kind of baffling to me, and I'm really not understanding it. I mean, the story of this film at its core is actually pretty solid, and it's got decent lead performances, but everything else outside of that was at times laughably bad, or it just didn't stand out and feel Oscar worthy, in my opinion. The musical numbers in this movie are bad. The singing in those musical numbers are either bland or bad. Nothing in terms of editing or cinematography stood out to my eye. I wasn't impressed with any of the writing, and outside of those 2 lead performances, there wasn't anyone that gave a compelling performance in this movie or really brought anything to the table. The biggest threat to this prediction in terms of possible wins, I would say, are Best Original Song, because it has 2 nominations in that category. Best International Film, because it and I'm Still Here are the only movies in that category that are also nominated for Best Picture. And then we have Best Supporting Actress, and we've already seen Zoe Saldana win and get nominated and win multiple of the awards at the other shows. And so I guess if anyone is deserving of a win from this movie, I would say it is her. But outside of that, this is going to be the movie at this year's show that anytime it does win, I'm going to be annoyed, because I feel like it's taking an award from a more deserving person or film. And that's just my opinion. But like I said, this prediction, it's bold for a reason. 13 nominations is a lot to go 0 for. So we'll see what happens this Sunday, but I'm just not seeing it with Emiliaperez. Moving on from my boldest prediction to what I feel is my number 1 absolute lock of the ceremony, and that is that The Wild Robot will take home Best Animated Feature Film. This category is actually pretty stacked this year. I enjoyed all the nominees, and I wouldn't be upset with any of them taking home the win. I felt like Inside Out 2 is one of the best Pixar movies we've gotten in a while. Flow was really sweet and creative. Wallace and Gromit was full of nostalgic fun. I absolutely loved Memoir of a Snail, but once The Wild Robot finished, I just couldn't help but feel like that's it. That's the Oscar. That's what's going to win. And that's because when you watch the Oscars enough, you kind of start to get an idea of the qualities they are looking for. And I felt out of all these movies, The Wild Robot had the most balance of those qualities. The animation and the art style is really impressive. The voice acting is on point. The story is really emotional, yet blends in enough humor to give you a well-rounded experience. So yeah, this is definitely my lock in terms of all these predictions. If I had to put money on any of these, this would definitely be the one. I have felt this movie is going to win this award from the second I saw it, and I still feel that way as of right now going into the show. So I think you can book it right now. The Wild Robot will be leaving with the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature Film. Up next for prediction number 3, I have Dune Part 2 winning the award for Best Cinematography and Best Visual Effects. Both Dune Part 1 and Part 2 to me have been examples of top tier filmmaking in all aspects of the game, both in front and behind the camera. which is evidenced by a combined 15 nominations across both films. Although they keep shafting my man Denis Villeneuve for Best Director. I don't know what their beef is with him, but if he was nominated for Best Director, he actually would be my pick this year. But they must have something against him. I don't know what it takes. They'll nominate everyone for these movies except my boy Denny. But nonetheless, Dune Part 2 is an absolutely visually stunning movie, and it really is a prime example of the beauty of shooting on site and also what having high quality, top tier visual effects can do for you. I've ranted a lot about visual effects, but Dune Part 2 is definitely not the movie I need to rant about. They absolutely knock everything they do out of the park. And if it's up for a visual effects or cinematography category, it's probably always going to be the movie I pick. I'm sure Dune 3 will be no different. It's definitely, when they say go see this movie on the biggest screen possible, it definitely warrants paying the extra money for the IMAX ticket because it's just an awesome experience. It's like today's Lord of the Rings in terms of just high quality storytelling matched with absolutely beautiful, gorgeous visuals, that it's a can't miss experience. And in terms of these categories specifically, I can't see a movie being more deserving. Wicked has a chance. I think Wicked was a very visually stunning film, but being that so much of that was just kind of CGI, that I don't think it's as impressive as a lot of the on-site shooting that they did for Dune Part 2. So that's where I kind of give it the edge. But Wicked definitely has a shot and is the biggest threat to this prediction from coming true. Both are solid choices. I'm just giving the slight edge to Dune, and I think they should be the one to take both of these awards home in terms of cinematography and visual effects. Getting to the penultimate prediction, and here I have who will be taking home the grand prize, the award for Best Picture. And this year, I believe it will be going to The Brutalist. Now, this is a year where I don't see a clear favorite, but when I look at the nominees, I do think The Brutalist stands out and encompasses more what it means to be a Best Picture winner. Now, this movie is a bit of an endurance test. It's the first movie I've seen in a theater in my lifetime that had a 15-minute intermission in the middle, but it is not a waste. I mean, this movie is full of examples of just beautiful filmmaking that it's worth sitting through the 3.5 hours. This film evokes a lot of emotion, and it tells a really powerful story of tragedy and triumph, and it hits really hard, and that's due to the artistry that is on display in all facets of the production. With 10 nominations, pretty much any person that worked on any section of this movie is getting nominated and could walk home with an award. And so when I see all that and compare that to the other nominees for Best Picture, I just think this embodies everything that you need to see in a Best Picture winner. So I definitely think The Brutalist is who the voters will be giving this award to this Sunday. Now, if I had a vote, I would be giving Best Picture to The Substance, but horror and the Academy historically don't have a good track record, and so I'm not expecting that movie to get the win here. However, there is one award that I'm expecting to hear its name called for this year. Which brings me to my fifth and final prediction, and the one that I'm the most passionate about, and that is that Demi Moore will be taking home the Oscar for Best Actress in a Leading Role. As a massive horror fan, I'm tired of the Academy treating the genre like the stepchild year after year after year, but this year is actually some of the most inclusion in terms of horror I've seen at the ceremony in quite some time. Alien Romulus and Nosferatu got a couple nominations as well, but it feels like to me that The Substance is really the movie that has the potential to burst through the bubble and get horror its first Oscar win since 2017's Get Out. Demi Moore gave all of herself to this role, and you see it in the speeches she's given at the other award shows, just how important this part was to her after all the restrictions and doubt that she feels has been placed upon her entire career. She completely transforms herself for this role, and you know, The Substance was my favorite movie of all of last year, and she is the biggest reason for that. And even someone who has enjoyed Demi Moore throughout her career, I didn't know she was capable of this, you know, and that's evident by her speeches, that it's because she was never given the opportunity to show us her full potential and what she was capable of, but she puts it fully out there on this movie, and I can only applaud her. I cannot stop raving about her. Since I saw this movie, I've not been able to stop singing its praises. She definitely is deserving of this award, and I will be very upset if it does not go to her. I feel like horror has produced some of the best performances I've seen in movies. I think it's a shame that you have performances like Toni Collette in Hereditary and Mia Goth in Pearl that just flat out got snubbed and didn't get recognized. But it finally feels like Demi Moore actually has some steam with this performance. And so if she doesn't win, I will completely just give up on anyone in a horror movie winning a Best Actor or Best Actress Oscar, because if she can't win with this, I don't know what it will take. I don't think anyone can do better than this. So if she can't win for this performance, then horror should just pack it in for the Academy Awards moving forward. This is a flawless performance and what I feel is a flawless movie, and if this can't get it done, then I don't know what could. I don't know how you could top it. So it needs to happen. Demi Moore, Oscar, Best Actress in a Leading Role. So there you guys have it. Those are my 5 predictions for the Academy Awards happening this Sunday, March 2nd. Like I said, if you have any opinions or predictions of your own, leave them down in the comments below. Or if you don't give a shit about any of this and you think we're just a bunch of pretentious assholes, go ahead and tell me that too. Why not? We're all having fun. Just make sure when you do it to also leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more movie content. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.